Just when you thought you were done, John Romero releases 2 more levels and the doom continues. This was actually the second level that John Romero released, and while neither one is officially a level from Doom, since id Software is long in his past, as is many of the original Doom teams, this one was designed as a replacement for E1M4, which is why it's E1M4b, Phobos Mission Control, taking the place of the normal command control, and obviously that's why that was on the intro title. In typical Romero style, this features a lot of backtracking and reuse of space. It's kind of fun to see how different elements come back and have different effects depending on the direction that you're coming from. Now, I have played this and the other level he released once or twice before, but not too many times, so I'm not nearly as familiar with it as I am with the rest of Doom. Both this and E1M4b, which was actually the first level he released, came out in the beginning of 2016. And the first one was obviously an even greater shock to people since he hadn't released a Doom level in 21 years, and then this one came out a couple months later. Ostensibly, he was getting back in the swing of things to release a new game, and since various things have revealed, we are going to be getting one from him and Adrian Carmack, who is one of the other developers of Doom, the artistic director of Doom, if I recall correctly. And they're working on a new game called Black Room, which promises classic FPS styles. So this is a bit of a warm-up for him, and kind of a throwback to the community. Ooh, a secret. A throwback to the community as a thank you for existing after more than 20 years, which is impressive in and of itself. The Doom source code is, of course, open source now. id Software did that after it got to the point where Doom was old enough that they figured they were never going to make a profit off it anyway, and they wanted the modding community to be able to continue to play and develop and do cool things, which is why I'm able to play this today, given the fact that modern source ports have allowed Doom to be played on modern computers. Doom was obviously originally for DOS, which made it not suitable for modern computers. If you buy it on Steam, they try to have you do it through DOSBox, which is not terribly great, because you're limited to the specs of DOSBox instead of the specs of your computer. And in addition to that, you also have Doom being ported to run on iPods and every other piece of technology, since somebody out there gets bored and decides, well, it's open source, I can play around with it and have some fun. It's a nice benchmark of a new piece of technology, is how fast somebody can root it and run some flavor of Linux and then run Doom on it. So lots of dark rooms. These 2 new levels that Romero made are a little bit convoluted. I think he got a little bit happy with the fact that modern source ports aren't limited in the same ways that the original ones were. These levels that he made actually can't be played using an original install of Doom. Not because the level formats have changed, it's just because there are so many elements, it will overflow the maximum that any level can handle. And you end up with stuff like viz plane overflow when there's too many vertices visible and other problems that obviously modern ports don't have to worry about. And lots of looping back around here and the same places that I was at before. I can obviously hear the enemies to my left. Forget how to open that. Probably the switch. Oh, the switch did something. There we go, there's some stairs. Thankfully we are not claptrap, we can handle stairs. If you remember from previous episodes, there are no slopes, so stairs are actually the only thing we can handle. Well, the only thing Doom can handle. There we go. Yeah, the complexity of the levels that Romero made, less visible with this one, definitely more visible with the next one, which is huge. It's the replacement for the boss level, so he decided, you know what, I'm gonna go all out and make that one really snazzy. Oh dear. I think hiding in the closet is the best option here. If you're wondering why Romero chose this level and the other level he chose in particular, it's because Episode 1 of Doom was created entirely by him except for those two levels, so he decided, okay, if I'm gonna make some levels after the fact, I'm gonna make the ones that I didn't make so that I could have a completely John Romero Episode 1, which I think is really neat. And speaking of a complete episode, you may have noticed that I started this level with some guns and ammo already. That was just kind of an expedience point for me. I was playing through the entire Romero episode, as it were. And so this is just that level in amongst the rest. I obviously wasn't replaying the levels in a recording because, you know, I already went through that. It also makes it a little bit easier and kind of what they're designed for, although he made sure that doing it from a pistol start with no prior guns and ammo other than the fists, the pistol, and 50 ammo, and no armor, and 100% health, like you would if you died and started again. He made sure that that was possible on all of these, although it's obviously a little bit easier if you have a bit of a head start if you're playing it as part of an episode. And let's see, well, it's green armor, but I want the blue armor. It's somewhere around here. As I'm sure I have said many times, I do like Romero's level designs better than Sandy Peterson. He tends to be a little bit more clever and less gimmicky. There we go, there's another secret. I had no idea where he was, but that worked. Still missing something. One of the fun things about the information file that comes with the levels that he released is that usually in the Doom community you would say other WAD files that you had made, WAD standing for where's all the data, which is what all of these levels are packaged in. Generally the README says other WADs that you've made. There we go. And in this case, John Romero said other WADs are Doom.wad, Doom2.wad. Kind of tongue-in-cheek, which is entirely true. He did make those. There we go. Remember what I said about reusing parts of levels. Lots of hidden openings and additional people coming out. You can see obviously the stuff is a lot more geometrically complex, if I can use my words, than you would generally see in the other levels. given that he did not have those limitations to work through. There we go. That's everybody up here. And obviously this is still in the tech-based style, fitting with episode 1. If you're interested in playing either of these 2 levels, you can download them from Twitter, or rather a Dropbox link that Romero shared on Twitter. And also, they've been backed up to pretty much every possible place by Doom fans all over the world. If you just search for E1M4b and E1M8b, E1M8b I'll be playing next here, which is a bit more tricky. Here you can see the end door, so we're pretty much at the end. This wasn't as long and complex as the other one. Although the other one, as I mentioned before, not only is the end of the episode, but it was the first one that he released, so he was kind of like trying to make a big splash, like, hey, I haven't released a level in 21 years. By the way, this is what I can do still. Haven't gone soft completely. Allegedly, these just took him, and I quote, a couple of weeks in my spare time, end quote. And do I want to? Sure. Oh, that's actually not nearly as damaging as I thought it was. The color on the ground does not correspond to how damaging it is unless when you create the level you choose it to be. So sometimes if you're used to playing different levels by different designers, things will do more damage or less damage depending on what they want, but this is obviously someone who made the original Doom, so it's kind of following a more standard pattern. Once you get into playing stuff like in the master levels of Doom 2, where it's essentially community-made levels, although they're made official by being released by id Software, they tend to vary much more in their design paradigms. So I think I'm almost done. I'm at 5 out of 6 levels, almost finished. Need to find this one last one. But thankfully, I think I see it there on the left. One room I forgot to get. And sometimes I like to navigate with the map. Yeah, so that's where I'm going. And I need to figure out... what's in there, or rather what to open to get in there. I know where I'm getting. I know where I want to go. And it's a hallway somewhere here. I played this once when it just came out. That appears to be a door. And that wasn't a secret. That was a secret. Okay, that's all the secrets. I finished everything. I'm all done. And now I can find my way back to the end of the level, and we can head on to the very last level. Skipping the ones in between, you guys don't need to see me play through all that. And we'll see the end of John Romero's Doom career for now. I can't predict whether or not he'll release another level 20 years from now, but hey. If he does, I'll play it and we'll all rejoice. But until then, until the next level, I'll see you next time.